Historically, gym leaders have always been known as individual trainers who proved to be exceptional challenges for the trainers who faced them. But in Generation 3, a wrench was thrown into this tradition with today's trainers. Tate and Liza, the current gym leaders, yes, leaders of the Moss Deep City Gym and the 7th gym leaders we're intended to face on our journey throughout Hoenn, and they preside over the Mind Badge. Upon Generation 3's release, Tate and Liza comprised the only multiple gym leaders who both held the title of gym leader at one gym simultaneously. This title, as we now know, is of course shared with the Unova region's Silent, Chili, and Cress of the Striaton Gym. At the time, Tate and Liza also performed the only gym battle consisting of a double battle all the way until we found out about Raihan of the Galar region. Their uniqueness, however, does not end here. These two are actually very young twins who are apparently able to read each other's minds, presumably through a combination of knowing each other very well and a skeptical dose of psychic powers, which make them very good at double battles as one can imagine. Their dialogue often consists of them finishing each other's sentences, which is a slightly disorienting thing to say the least. Their quest to always become stronger is only to be outdone by their belief in the bond not only between trainers but also between trainers and their Pokemon. They have a very positive spirit, often encouraging the protagonist, and their words often have a surprising depth and maturity to them, such as when they say upon defeat, "You and your Pokemon aren't alone, you have each other. That's why we want you to face whatever troubles may come your way head on and full of courage." And the battle we had is an invaluable experience. Despite their intelligence and rather deep thoughts for people so young, Tate and Liza are of course still children, and this is demonstrated in the Lily Cove department store where they can be found excitedly exclaiming that they got brand new toys. This innocent and gentle exterior can be deceiving though, as they are some of the most highly ranked gym leaders in the Hoenn region after all. Psychic powers, an immensely strong bond, and the status of highly ranked gym leaders. We know that Tate and Liza are strong trainers. But how strong are they really? Using all of their appearances in the main series games, it's time to construct Tate and Liza's best possible teams. It's time to find out their true power. The first time we encounter these twins occurs in the original Gen 3 games Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, where they serve as the 7th gym leaders we're intended to face on our journey through Hoenn. This battle served as the only gym leader double battle up until this point and would remain so for over 15 years. In this battle, Tate and Liza have a level 42 Lunatone and a level 42 Solrock. Between moves like Light Screen to increase their special defense, Hypnosis, Calm Mind, and one-turn Solar Beam after Sunny Day, this battle can actually be quite challenging, but it is certainly nowhere near the strongest that we see them. Tate and Liza are next found in the Generation 3 third version game Pokemon Emerald, where they can be battled on multiple occasions, unlike in the original games. In the first battle, despite the fact that we encounter them under similar circumstances for our 7th badge, their team has changed quite a bit, with 2 new Pokemon even. They now begin with a level 41 Claydol and a new level 41 Xatu, followed by their Lunatone and Solrock still at level 42, but this time holding Citrus Berries for even more bulk. This team proves much more difficult than their Ruby and Sapphire appearance, as their roster has essentially doubled, and Claydol and Xatu can set up well ahead of their signature Pokemon. Although this is definitely their best appearance thus far, Tate and Liza haven't even begun to show us what they're really capable of, but thankfully Emerald has a way to do just that. In Pokemon Emerald, after the player becomes the champion, they can return to the Moss Deep Gym where they can be battled in 4 different doubles rematches that get incrementally more difficult. They start with their Pokemon in the late 40s and early 50s in terms of levels. Since their team steadily builds up in terms of levels and evolutions throughout the 4 rematches, for our purposes it's only necessary to look at the final rematch, in which they become scarily more powerful and no longer appear to be holding back. In our 4th and final rematch with Tate and Liza, they have a brand new level 63 Hypno, their Claydol now at level 64, a brand new Slowking at level 63, their Xatu at level 64, and both their Lunatone and Solrock now at a whopping level 65. Now that we've begun to get a sense of what these twins are really capable of, let's check out their final appearance in the main series games, which is quite an interesting one indeed. The final time we can encounter the twins occurs in Gen 5's Black 2 and White 2, where they both participate in the Pokemon World Tournament. Very interestingly though, for the first time they actually compete separately in single battles, giving us a bit more insight into their individual Pokemon collections and how they run their teams in singles. Don't forget that the World Tournament automatically sets all Pokemon to level 50, but we can get a great idea of new additions to their collection and how competitive their Pokemon have become since Gen 3. Starting with Tate, in the Hoenn Leaders Tournament, he operates by rotating between his Solrock, Xatu, a brand new Chimecho, a brand new Grumpig, a brand new Gallade, and finally his Claydol. In the Type Expert and World Leaders tournaments, Tate rotates between his Solrock, Xatu, a brand new Bronzong, a brand new Reuniclus, showing his first Unova region Pokemon, along with his Gallade and Claydol. For Tate, the World Tournament introduces 5 new Pokemon we haven't seen him with before. As for Liza, the Hoenn Leaders Tournament sees her rotate between her Lunatone, Xatu, a new Chimecho, a new Grumpig, a brand new Gardevoir, and her Claydol. In the Type Expert and World Leaders tournaments, Liza has her Lunatone, Xatu, a brand new Bronzong, a brand new Gothitelle, her Gardevoir, and her Claydol. Liza's also shown to have 5 new Pokemon in this tournament. It's time for the moment we've all been waiting for. Using all of their appearances in the main series Pokemon games, let's construct Tate and Liza's best possible teams. Now, of course, these are unique circumstances given that we have 2 trainers, so we're going to approach it differently. We're first going to go through Tate's best team with our standard analysis, then I'll talk about the 3 different Pokemon Liza will have on her best team briefly. So that's right, we'll actually have a best team for each of them. Here we go. The first pick for Tate's best team is going to go to his Reuniclus from his Black 2 and White 2 Type Expert and World Leaders World Tournament team, in which it's automatically set to level 50. However, since this is the biggest challenge he's ever faced and all the rest of his Pokemon in the World Tournament that we know the level of are at level 64+, it's safe to assume that his Reuniclus is around there too, or else he wouldn't have brought it. Reuniclus is currently placed in the RUBL tier of competitive battling, meaning it's banned from rarely used but doesn't quite make the underused tier by usage. Reuniclus is a massively bulky Pokemon with a huge 110 in HP along with 75 and 85 defenses. Aside from that, it also has an insane 125 special attack, but its speed is a dismal 30. Tate has this thing set up quite well in the tournament with the Magic Guard ability to make it immune to any non-damaging moves such as status moves, and with its own moves like Stab Psychic, Shadow Ball, Focus Blast, and Trick Room, which allows slower Pokemon to move first for 5 turns. Trick Room is incredible for this team as a whole, but I think I'd reserve that for another Pokemon on this team instead, and set this thing up as a bulky tank with moves like Calm Mind to raise its special attack and special defense even further, and Recover for healing capabilities. The second spot is going to go to Tate's Bronzong, also from his Type Expert and World Leaders teams, in which it's also to be around level 64+. Bronzong is also currently in the RUBL tier and has amazing bulk too, with a mediocre 67 HP but a whopping 116 in both defenses. It also has a pretty good attack stat at 89 too. Bronzong I feel would operate really well as a physical tank on this team, and Tate has it set up almost perfectly with moves like Stab Zen Headbutt, Stab Gyro Ball, Earthquake for coverage, and finally Trick Room too, which it is yet another major beneficiary of, as is the whole team. The slower a Pokemon is, the faster it is under Trick Room, and Bronzong and Reuniclus can take full advantage of this. It could also run Stealth Rock or Toxic for utility too. It's just all around a great Pokemon, especially under Trick Room, and adds some physically offensive capabilities to a team that needs it quite badly. The third spot on Tate's best team is going to go to his Slowking from his Pokemon Emerald final rematch battle, in which it's at level 63. Slowking is currently in the NU or never used tier of competitive battling, the 3rd lowest tier after PU and untiered. Slowking's got some great base stats with a solid 80 to 110 in everything that it needs to use besides speed, again being perfect for Trick Room at a terrible 30. Tate's moveset on this thing is definitely outdated with Yawn, Calm Mind, and Protect, but they're not terrible moves, they just could be updated with moves like Stab Psyshock, Stab Scald with a chance to burn, and Fire Blast, which is an amazing move for Slowking, allowing it to help the team with steel types which otherwise wall it quite badly. As a special tank that's super bulky and speedy under Trick Room with great coverage, Slowking can be a force to be reckoned with, especially with an item like the Assault Vest. The fourth pick is going to go to Tate's beastly Gallade from his Hoenn Leaders World Tournament team, in which it's likely around level 64+. Gallade currently stands in the PUBL tier, meaning it's banned from PU but doesn't quite make the NU tier by usage. Gallade has, well, interesting base stats to say the least. Its attack and special defense in particular are monstrous at 125 and 150 respectively, along with a decent 80 speed and mediocre HP and defense. Gallade's main goal on this team is to include very necessary type coverage and hit hard physically. In the tournament, Tate had some great moves on it like Stab Psycho Cut with a high critical hit ratio, Stab Close Combat along with Night Slash, Stone Edge, Ice Punch, and Leaf Blade for coverage. This could be improved with Swords Dance to raise Gallade's attack massively and Knock Off instead of Night Slash to get rid of the opponent's item. Gallade adds a much needed physically offensive presence to this team. The second last pick for Tate's best team is going to go to his Xatu from his Pokemon Emerald final rematch battle, in which it's at level 64. Xatu currently stands in the NU tier, but unfortunately that's only due to it having access to the Magic Bounce ability, which Tate's Xatu doesn't have. But Synchronize can still work relatively effectively, especially on a bulky team like this. Xatu's base stats aren't great, with a good special attack and speed, but everything else is mediocre, although it does provide some flying coverage. With moves like Stab Psychic, Stab Air Slash, and Shadow Ball for coverage, along with Trick Room to help the team, or even the possibility to run dual screens, Light Screen and Reflect, to improve the team's defenses, I see Xatu as a kind of nuisance for opposing teams and a big support Pokemon for this one. And the final pick for Tate's best possible team is going to go to his Claydol from his World Tournament teams, in which it's likely level 64+. Claydol is currently in the PU tier, and his base stats are nothing special, although its defenses are fantastic overall. Claydol could kind of serve as a physical wall on this team, and with moves like Stab Psychic and Earth Power, Cosmic Power to raise both its defenses even further, Trick Room to help the team, and the much needed Stealth Rock to get some hazards down, Claydol serves as that final piece of the puzzle as a support Pokemon on this team. Liza's best team, on the other hand, is somewhat similar in function, although 3 Pokemon are replaced. Liza does not have a Gallade, instead she has a level 64+ Gardevoir, which adds a speedy special sweeper with the potential to bulk up using Calm Mind too, and also adds some fairy coverage against dark types, which otherwise threaten the team quite badly. She also has a level 64+ Gothitelle instead of Reuniclus, which kind of serves that same bulky yet powerful function, and can trap opponents with its Shadow Tag ability. Finally, instead of Slowking, Liza has a level 65+ Lunatone, which can be a speedy threat after Rock Polish and adds some rock coverage for opposing bug types, which also threaten psychic teams like this one. Although these are the best teams of each trainer, they definitely have a couple other options that could be substituted in depending on who they're facing. Tate also has a level 64+ Chimecho, which is outclassed by other bulky Pokemon like Reuniclus, a level 65+ Solrock, which is outclassed by Claydol overall, and a level 64+ Grumpig, which is also outclassed by Claydol just slightly since it can't set up Stealth Rocks. Liza also has a Chimecho and Grumpig at the same levels, but her third honorable mention is going to go to her level 63+ Hypno, which is outclassed in its role by Gothitelle. Well, there we go everyone, we have discovered Tate and Liza's true power and unveiled their strongest possible teams in the main series games. If you enjoyed this video and are looking forward to more from this series, please be sure to leave a like, share it on social media, and subscribe with notifications on by hitting that bell icon if you haven't already. Don't forget to comment down below with what trainer you wish to see featured next. The comment with the most likes will pick the trainer for the next week's episode and will be featured on screen. Before we go, I'd just like to give a quick shout out to my patrons. Thank you guys so much for your support. If you enjoy my content and would like to support the channel and get some cool perks, the link to my Patreon page will be in the description below. This has been Spectre, and I'll see you guys next time for some more True Power.